Hello again for this week. Again, my name is Andrew Wright. And the topic for this week, or the goal for this week, was to find sources within the database about historical newspapers that could help enhance or build up a U.S. History 2 course. There are several things that we have to consider for this, especially being somebody who teaches U.S. History 2 at the college level. Many I was When I was an undergrad student, the courses there were 16 weeks, and now they're down to 8. So we have to remember that although we're trying to have a topic about things that enhance those courses, we have to remember that a lot of things have to be cut out, unfortunately, just due to the sheer numbers of the course. There's so much that we would like as professors to talk about in those courses, but we simply can't because we don't have the time to do it. The sources I used, one was by James Ladner. It's called Double Injustice. It's a story about Medgar Evers. Medgar Evers is whenever I teach U.S. history too, I make sure that the civil rights movement is not a spot that I cut out on or skimp on. I make sure that we dive into civil rights movement. Medgar Evers is probably one of the more under-taught civil rights leaders, mainly because he was murdered by Byron Della Beckwith at such a young age and has still so much to do. But he played a big role in businesses, really African American businesses, and just African American people really standing up for themselves and not giving in to racist white people, and going into their stores and businesses and using putting African American money into places that didn't really value them. And it's important that we talk about not only Medgar Evers, but the several court cases that his wife was a part of after he had died, and the justice that she was able to eventually get for him. The second one is by Robert Beisner. It's called The Cold War from Truman to Eisenhower. The Cold War is one of the most interesting parts about U.S. history too to me. Cold War is one of the most interesting conflicts to me. But again, I know where I'm at. We have a separate course just for the Cold War. But I try to indoctrinate these students about the Cold War, because a lot of times many students come from high school and they get a very broad stroke of what the Cold War was, of what the Soviet Union was. And I try to use this as an opportunity to get them up to speed, at least at the collegiate level, of what the Cold War was about and what the Soviet Union actually stood for. The last one is by Winston Churchill. It is a collection of speeches that he gave. One of them being the Iron Curtain speech. The other, several of them being speeches that he gave about World War II. I think World War II is something else. Being a military historian, I never shy away from teaching about military conflict in my courses, but I think it's important to include World War II because World War II played such a significant part in how our military was shaped after, how our foreign policy was shaped after. And I think that Winston Churchill was a very central figure. Everyone knew who he was, everyone knew what he stood for. And it's important to include him, even though it's a course that is centered around U.S. history. He had a relationship with the United States and our military, and it's important that we talk about that and how what he did and how it affected the United States during that time. I will be interested to hear the rest of you guys and see what you came up with yourselves, and I look forward to speaking with you this week.